Welcome into the Fantasy Sanctuary. I am your humble host, Tyler, aka Emo Cowboy. It is week 9. We are here for last minute, right up until kickoff. Start sits. Let's get into it, folks. How's everybody doing this weekend? Good luck, all. Lots flurry of information. Let's get it pulled up here. Lots to get going. Brian Robinson potentially going to be active today and then doesn't. So put your start sit questions down in the chat. I will get to each and every one of them. Don't forget to tell me what your scoring settings are so that I can help make sure we get you the right suggestions, whether that's PPR, half PPR, standard, what have you. Let's see. Let's fucking go. Fun week ahead indeed. Tom, Dale Backus. Hopefully this is the week. Yes. We can bank some stuff. Jay Smells in the chat. Welcome. If we answer your question, please hit that sub. Please hit that like. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Start 2, Puka, Pollard, Tracy, Olave. Pollard with Jeff Mueller and the medical folks tend to think that he may be limited today, given his DNP 3 times in the week. Oh, I want Underdog NFL. That's what I want. There we go. Wrong channel. So there's definitely some concern about Pollard's workload and efficiency with the DNP times 3 this week. Certainly a concern. Tracy cleared of concussion. He's been getting awesome coach speak. So, that's looking like he's been very explosive, very effective. Washington's been tougher against quarterbacks and receivers, still giving up plenty against running backs. He's been very, very effective. Puka with the weird hurt his knee, but that shouldn't be a concern type of thing. His usage and effectiveness looked awesome last week. Olave with a very soft matchup versus Carolina on deck, where he's going to see a lot more targets with Shaheed out. Taysom is back in the fold, but Olave is for sure, and he gets Derek Carr back. So this is a good question. I think Pollard's the easy no, and this becomes a question about risk tolerance. You've got some injury weirdness. Puka's ramping up his workload. He and Kupp were about 60% snaps last week, both still highly effective and fed targets. So if Puka's active, I have a hard time saying to sit him, given how good he's looked and how much they feed him in that offense. Olave's healthy with no concerns, and we've seen guys like Cortland Sutton eat against Carolina, even on, with a lowly role. Olave's a better player than Cortland Sutton. You have to question how much that the Panthers will push them with Taysom and Kamara. They could just run the ball at will. I mean, and Tracy's been so good. Tracy has been really good. It's probably Puka and Olave. I have to assume half PPR if you're not telling me. The receivers give you a lot of upside there. Tracy's hard to bench, though. So it definitely comes down between Olave and Tracy. Again, if it's PPR, it's probably Olave. Half PPR, looking at expert consensus rankings, Pat Thorman, a couple spots has Olave over. So it looks like, for pure upside, we're going to suggest Olave and Puka. I definitely understand if you have any concerns with Puka. Tracy's been very explosive, very effective. So I'd say Olave's locked in with his role and his matchup. Puka, assuming everything's good to go, I had him on a bench in one league last week and had him start in another. So I think if Puka's starting in any sort of 60 to 70% role, he's looked really, really effective. And if they're not worried about it, McVay via the Coach Index, Coach Speak Index has been very good about reliability for health and players. So Puka and Olave are going to be the go-tos. And then as far as Love or Donald, Love is active, but it's a rainy game. His groin carries like a 15 to 20% re-injury risk. The rain makes the turf a little bit worse for wear. So, the problem is Darnold's kind of more of a statue passer right now. So again, I lean Darnold because of the Indianapolis matchup, they're going to be able to run at will. I'm probably going to be a little bit more conservative, but he does get Hawkinson back, and he's got his full slate of receivers back. So I'd lean away from the groin strain re-injury with potentially poor weather. One slip or reoccurrence, and he's out of the lineup again, like we saw last week. So Darnold's got a really good matchup. So let's go Darnold and let's go Puka Olave. So if you've got your questions, drop them in the chat. Give me the scoring settings so that way I can help make sure as we get all of your questions answered right up until kickoff. Thank you for giving me a hard one to deliberate over. We worked through it. We worked through it, didn't we? Very background music. Chat. I do just want to hit some late breaking topics to make sure that we got them for everybody. Jordan Love is expected to start today. Along those lines, T. Higgins and Jermaine Burton looking inactive. Jermaine Burton, potential fun DFS start, looking like a healthy scratch. Jonathan Brooks expected to start next week, so definitely out this week. Xavier Legette active this week. The doctors do expect him to have about a 10 to 15% production dip because of that toe. So potentially a better route for Coker there. Zamir White active, but we got coach speak that Madison will continue to operate as the main starting running back. He's more viable in PPR settings, given that his workload's he's not very efficient as a rusher, but he's getting a really good amount of receiving work. Curtis Samuel active after being a game time decision for his pack. He's seemingly been phased out. Another Bills wide receiver, Amari Cooper, apparently injured himself last week in the game, so it looks like he's going to be out. So Curtis Samuel's in, but we expect this offense to really not be too much issue with Shakir and James Cook. All right, James in chat, welcome, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Half PPR, Slayton or Tolbert. The Commanders are not the same Commanders that they used to be. They have seemingly gotten, Dan Quinn has seemingly gotten the squad much better against the pass. Slayton really not seeing much work as long as Neighbors is in there. He's been effective though. So outside receiver, it'll be interesting. It's probably Tolbert just because his role is likely stronger. And like I said, the Washington defense has been tougher. Atlanta should have a lot of points against Dallas and push them a lot. It's probably Tolbert. Slayton feels more like the dart. Expert consensus rankings, including Pat Thorman, who does a lot of awesome work with establish the run, including game pace and volume, play volume, and trends and tendencies and things of that nature, has him ranked 46, 10 spots ahead of Slayton. So we're gonna go Jalen Tolbert. Dallas's run game is basically atrocious and worthless. Zeke's inactive. That means Dalvin Cook, who's even potentially dustier than Zeke, work. Rico Dowdle's back, but Atlanta's going to have pass and run at will versus Dallas. So we're just looking like a high pace, garbage time, lots of snaps and target grabs for the top three pass catchers in Dallas. Denzel Barrett says Rico or Chubb. Easily Chubb, unless it's PPR. In that case, it becomes a little bit dicier, but it looks like Chubb is on his third week of ramped up reps, had a good amount of carries and reps the previous week. Donta Foreman is inactive, so that's seemingly a good sign for Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb's health and availability. While he's not been super effective, the Jameis Winston show is pretty effective. I'd say that Chubb is likelier to see more volume than Rico is. Rico right now is kind of a dart for the type of workload it is. Rico's been around like 35, 39, 40% of snaps. So you're really just hoping he breaks off efficient play. You hope it's via the pass game. And at running back, I'm more tempted just to chase volume, right? I'll check consensus ranks here. I'm assuming half PPR since you're not saying it. I think you got to go Chubb here and just trust that the Jameis Winston show is going to give him enough work. Consensus rankings have Chubb slightly ranked ahead. I'll check for my trusted sources, and Thorman's got him ranked back to back. And if it's that close, I'd rather go with the volume first with Nick Chubb, especially because they seem to be fine making him the goal. His role is the goal line back, and that is more valuable for feeling not running back. Appreciate everybody filling up the chat with questions. Don't forget to hit the like. Every little bit helps us out here. Too Much Sauce on Twitter says, how are you feeling about Pollard and Love? 5 decent replacements for both. Not feeling really good about it, especially Pollard. And Malik Willis has looked really competent in this Florida offense. So when you say decent replacements, we're talking like Eckler, even Tyler Algier. I'm almost tempted to start Tyler Algier over Pollard in some spots. Let me pull up Jeff Mueller, who I count on for a lot of the health takes. He has real concerns about Pollard's effectiveness given his injury and lack of practice all week. Guys like that, like Pollard, tend to see less snaps and work overall. So if you do have really good replacements for both, I would advise leaning away from that, because re-injury mid-game, you can't score points when you're just not in the game. And especially for Pollard, it looks like they're talking about wear and tear on the running backs and using multiple backs. They've called up a couple of backs, so they could definitely spell him plenty with other backs. We've seen that with like San Francisco, putting Jordan Mason out there with the unstable shoulder, and he's getting pulled multiple times early in the game. So I tend to want to lean away from that with guys like Pollard at running back. It's like really is volume dependent because it's a bad offense. We don't expect them to score a whole lot. Joe Daddy says Ingram or Otten for tight end, Josh Jacobs or Dobbins for flex. All right, so I'm assuming half PPR. Don't tell me. Otten's role is very strong. Ingram's role without Kirk is very strong. That said, that's a good problem to have. The Otten red zone role has been really strong. But expert consensus rankings have Ingram ranked ahead. Foreman has him as a top 5 tight end. So we're going to say let's roll for Ingram. Last year we saw him crush as a top 2 tight end down the stretch without Christian Kirk. Kirk is out. Brian Thomas is in with he's having to play through pain, and we expect production dip. So Ingram, much like Otten, can operate as the main weapon of the offense. And we just know that Ingram is more athletic and a more efficient player. And Otten is facing a more daunting defense versus Kansas City, who kept Bowers in check, albeit with a worse quarterback. But yeah, let's roll with Ingram. Philly tends to kind of struggle with tight ends historically because they invest less of the linebacker, and Philly should have no problems putting up major points against Jacksonville, which should push them as a passing offense with both Etienne and Bigsby kind of nursing injuries. So let's go Ingram at tight end, and then you are asking Dobbins or Jacobs at flex. It's probably Jacobs, who's cleared. His role is just much stronger right now. Dobbins is looking fine. Expert consensus rankings have Jacobs ranked much further ahead, although Foreman has Dobbins ranked as the better player. So if it's half PPR, Jacobs versus a Detroit defense without in the rain. We saw Justice Hill and Henry do just fine. Dobbins' role has been strong, and Foreman is really good with the snaps and the pace. So Dobbins isn't nursing an injury. Jacobs was coming in a little banged up. So I guess we'll lean Dobbins with Foreman there. Because we've seen the running back split. Josh Jacobs doesn't hit the big play where it doesn't get fed at the goal line, which is very matchup dependent. And if Love has to miss any time or gets managed, all of a sudden the offense could, like, we've seen a hobbled Love makes the offense pretty limited, and then all of a sudden, you know, without Malik Willis comes in, he's going to be doing the option stuff. So Dobbins has multiple outs because he's also uses the pass back, and the offense looks pretty strong. Clement says flex 1 PPR, Rico, Leggett, Coker, Gesicki. Fan favorite Coker. Folks think Gesicki operates as the main wide receiver 2 with T out. Burton being out means probably more work for Gesicki and for Yoshivas. Man. I would love to say Leggett, but the toe injury thing means might see a 10 to 15% production dip, which puts him almost in the same tier as Coker with Bryce Young playing. Man. But it's hard to just like plug and play a tight end over good options. So, man, this is a tough one. Foreman has Rico ranked much higher than Gesicki this week. Yeah, I'd say hard to say a tight end. Probably Leggett or Rico. And expert consensus rankings are liking Rico the most. So we will, in an ambiguous spot, we will lean with Rico. We can get there with just pass game work and catch-up mode versus Atlanta. Too much sauces, Pollard and Love for Scott Fishbowl. Yeah, I think Love and Pollard are both more low floor plays, a tier or two down from what we're used to them being, than without the injuries. You're very welcome. Too much sauce. Okay. Will Forces says start McConkey or Shakir with Cooper out. It's McConkey. McConkey's role's been awesome. He just scored a shit ton of points last week, finally on his awesome usage. Cleveland with Winston should keep this like a pretty high-paced, high-volume affair. Shakir has been really solid. That said, whether Cooper is in or out, Cooper wasn't really playing a whole lot last week with his in-game injury. Shakir eats. Shakir's slot role is one of the few places the Miami defense does a pretty good job against. Because they're just worse against outside receivers and worse against run. So I'm still starting McConkey over Shakir. With assuming scoring, like they're similar role players, but Lad has been really, really awesome. Expert consensus rankings agree with me. They've got him within a few spots of each other, but Lad McConkey ranked a little bit ahead. So we're starting McConkey because James Cook, Ray Davis, Josh Allen can just control this game versus Miami on the run. And like I said, I want to note that Miami's defense is better against slot receivers, both with tackling with Yak and with in coverage. Joe Daddy's Ingram, Otten, or Jacobs, Dobbins was PPR. Okay. I mean, yeah, Ingram and PPR, it's still Ingram, and I still think Dobbins because of the PPR, because Jacobs isn't seeing as much pass work. I'll double check that to see if that moves the needle in expert rankings, but I think you're probably better off with game environment. Yeah, full PPR has them like within 3 spots of each other. So at that point, I lean Dobbins for PPR Joe Daddy, as does Pat Thorman. Jacobs is sneaky, kind of like touchdown or bust. You know, if he doesn't hit a big efficient run, he's not really doing a whole lot for you. And they have no problem using Wilson and Brooks. And he was managing an injury, if I'm not mistaken. Where is the practice report? Let's see. ankle injury. And he was limited Thursday and Friday. So yeah, Jacobs wasn't even full practice Friday, and we've seen ankle injuries affect the efficiency of guys like Achan. So yeah, Dobbins is healthier than Josh Jacobs in Week 9. So we're all very shocked, and we're all just rolling Dobbins for a similar role, but uninjured. And if anything happens to Love, Malik Willis is going to be a bigger hit to Jacobs' total load as a rushing quarterback. All right, we're going to check for any late-breaking news as we wait for any more start-sit questions in the chat for folks to help navigate. Go through the rest of the health news in case anyone misses it. B-Rob being out, slightest of bumps to Eckler. We've seen them manage with Jeremy McNichols and with Chris Rodriguez before. This is against the New York Giants, so I really just expect this is a bigger bump to Jaden Daniels rushing and to Terry McLaurin than it is to Eckler. He's just not really seeing a whole lot more work, and when he does see a whole lot more work, his efficiency with some of the explosive plays definitely go. And I think that just comes with the territory of an older back. So it doesn't exactly make Eckler a slam dunk start by any means, but I think his role in PPR with potentially the goal line back may get better. But I think we tend to see that be better for Terry, better for Jaden Daniels as a rusher. Let's see. I think that was all the late breaking news. Not really thinking this is totally actionable outside of just Javonte getting less work, which they've done rotating chairs every week with that running back room. Zach Moss out as expected after being reported doubtful a couple days ago. This is a weird note, but I guess this is more of like a trade block thing, like he's healthy, we just don't want to play him. Oh, Gabe Davis being a long shot doubtful for Week 9 also helps out Ingram's role. It's just like, I don't think the offense ends up being very good, but Ingram becomes like one of the last men standing as the lone healthy. Tyler Boyd got to play and nobody cares. The Tony Pollard foot thing just doesn't feel great. Neither does the Leggett toe thing. Taysom Hill going to be operating as the running back 2, and tight end 3, and wide receiver 2 in New Orleans. He may have a really solid game. I think that was it. There wasn't any other really notable things. McMillan with a hamstring, questionable for Monday. He already stunk in his role despite seeing a good amount of work, and now he's nursing a hamstring again. So would definitely be shying away from McMillan if you were looking at him as like a flex option. Checking for the news as we wait for any more start-sit questions in the chat. Of kickoff. We'll check for any Schefter bombs. Give me the fake Adam Schefter. Mine is. Dude, Twitter sucks. No late breaking Schefter bombs since an hour ago. Okay. Man, Week 9, we blinked and it's already halfway through the season. It's gone fast. It's been a rocky season. I don't know about y'all. Injuries galore, backfields and quarterbacks, carousel, wild stuff happening seemingly every week. Bo Nix being pretty much the only player on the offense who can start with confidence. By the way, if you're not starting Bo Nix over statue quarterbacks this week, I think that's a mistake. His rushing floor is extremely underrated and is extremely valuable, and Baltimore's defense has been very not good, and he's been effective as a passer, at least in the red zone, and he's been a really effective rusher. So I definitely think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't start your rushing quarterbacks like Bo over your Mahomes, your Genos, especially without DK Metcalf, your Matt Staffords. Like I'm willing to take the rushing floor added to any extra of the passing stuff with your statue quarterbacks. They have to have 3+ touchdowns and at least 250 yards passing to separate themselves from a guy like Bo who could throw for 150 yards but rush for 50 and pretty much match the same thing. Dino Fontaine asking McConkey or BTJ PPR. McConkey, because we're worried about how productive the BTJ can be with this chest injury, especially with him not really getting to practice a whole lot. It's like a pain tolerance issue, and they have no reason not to kind of like take care of him if he's not feeling good or if he re-injures it. McConkey's role has been super solid. He's been super solid, and he's got another decent matchup on track today. So I have no hesitation not blinking with McConkey. The only way I'm taking a shot on a guy like BTJ where he might not really play a whole lot, but his ceiling is really big, is if I'm like a huge dog and I don't have a good option like McConkey. Like if I was looking at like a what's a good, I don't know, like it was like a flex is like BTJ or Madison or something like that. I understand going for the ceiling there, but yeah, Pat Thorman expert ranking has McConkey ranked a couple spots ahead of BTJ. You just go with McConkey. He's been really good. His role's been really good. Brian Thomas Jr., we just don't know how much he's going to play and how well he's going to play through this. And historically, it's been an injury that's really hampered receivers. James asking Geno or Kyler. Brother, it's Kyler. Rushing quarterback every single time. I know Chicago's been tougher, but it didn't stop Jaden Daniels. Now, granted, that wasn't a 52-yard Hail Mary touchdown at the end. But the Bears have been playing a lot of cover 3. McBride does really well against that. McBride's been Kyler's favorite target. So, from that standpoint, Kyler and his legs, I would understand when he would start Geno against the Rams if DK Metcalf was playing, but without Metcalf, they look awful as an offense. And when Metcalf was in there, Geno was still struggling to kind of like hit, and some of it was, Metcalf couldn't get his foot in bounds, or like holding penalty taking away a touchdown, yada yada. Like the passing volume was there, but without Metcalf, JSN and Tyler Lockett look very abysmal. Fant nursing a groin injury, and I don't believe he's playing today. So 2 of your weapons are out on offense, and Geno hasn't really been running as much. He was kind of giving us some Baker-esque, like 20, 30-yard scrambles early in the season, but that's definitely not happening now with players getting injured. So we're going with Kyler. Kyler's looked pretty fine to good lately. McBride's looked awesome. This is a matchup against the Bears. Theoretically, McBride should carve up, at least without any defensive adjustments. And we've seen this before, when Kyler played the San Francisco 49ers. First drive of the game, 53-yard rushing touchdown with a well-blocked, pin and pull guard straight to the house. And right then and there, that was, 11 points. And you're stoked if your quarterback hits that by halftime. It's Kyler every time. Expert consensus rankings probably have Kyler ranked as like a top 8 quarterback to play just because of his legs alone. Oh yeah, easily Kyler, 98% of the time. Yep, I nailed it. Thorman has him ranked 8th and has Gino ranked 11th. So yeah, Kyler for 4 and for ceiling. That's just rushing quarterback. I'd start Bo Nix over Geno Smith this week. Without Metcalf, I have no interest in starting Geno Smith. I would rather start Baker Mayfield than Geno Smith. So Baker Mayfield has shown that he can overcome lack of pass catchers with just volume, efficiency, and magically with rushing. He'll take off and run, and Baker's got aggressiveness that he'll throw the ball with that Geno just struggles to do without his top pass catchers. When in doubt, start the rushing quarterback, guys. When in doubt, start the really, really talented person with a really, really good role. I know in real life, Kyler Murray, very questionable quarterback right now with how he's playing in the past, but he and McBride have had a strong rapport, and this matchup's not exactly like daunting. And don't forget that Jaden Daniels was a game time decision for last week against Chicago, and was managing his rib injury. So, you got to remember that some of that was probably starting the game conservative with some line that didn't play, and then when they let Jaden do Jaden things, he started eating. They have no reason to keep the game conservative with Kyler. And typically, Kyler's only been good on the first. Kyler and the Cardinals are really only good for that first scripted drive. So you hope he gets there with a scripted drive, and then just run around and make it happen. Stephen McMahon on Twitter saying start Kareem Hunt or Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy is my recommendation. I'll check expert consensus rankings. Tracy back from concussion, so no production dip expected whatsoever. He's been extremely productive and explosive. He hasn't really even gotten the pass game work that could really boost him to an elite type of player. Hunt has been a very turn it along type of thing. So, Steven, I'm assuming half PPR if you're not specifying. Hunt's role's been very strong, but he's not been as effective. Thorman has Kareem Hunt ranked 16th and Tyrone Tracy 25th. This is the one time where I would say if I'm playing for ceiling, Tampa Bay as a run defense has been pretty strong overall. Kareem Hunt's more just a volume accumulator. So Hunt is probably live for 20 rushes and 50, 60 yards, and you hope he gets the end zone. Tyrone Tracy, okay, you're saying PPR? Okay, Hunt's not seeing that much pass game work, and Tracy absolutely could. Let me see what that changes in Thornton's ranks. Yeah, that bumps. Kareem Hunt doesn't move. That bumps Tracy up a little bit. For ceiling against Washington, I have a hard time not starting Tracy. Right, this is a good problem to have because you've got Kareem Hunt who's starting Kansas City back. That said, he's just not been that effective, and he's getting less effective as it's going on. And Pacheco's nearly back, so because the thing too is it's Tampa Bay, so their run defense is not bad. Let me see. Let's check out. Hunt snaps they dipped a bit last week, but his overall rush attempt percentage went up. His targets are all or nothing. The coach speak and the talent for Tracy is just so much more promising. I'm a ceiling type of guy, and Kareem Hunt's ceiling is just getting in the end zone twice. Tyrone Tracy's ceiling is 150 all-purpose yards and multiple touchdowns. So, expert consensus, Pat Thorman of ETR says Hunt top 16 play, Tyron Tracy top 24 play. I am saying I would take a chance on Tyron Tracy against Washington being one of the few things that probably works, because the quarterback receiver thing is Washington's been better at in the last 4 weeks, but their rush game, the rush defense hasn't been nearly as strong, and we've seen Dable's willingness to give Tracy a lot of work and let him be explosive. Tracy broke, a 40-yard touchdown play the last week. Got cleared of his concussion. They have no reason to withhold him. I even want to say, go to the coach feed. When they asked if Singletary was going to get any more role, they were like, look, we have no reason not to take more away from Tracy. Had this to say about him. He's a good player, size, speed, made plays when they aren't blocked. That's what good running backs do. Some of his power and explosiveness has shown up, running through tacklers. He's done a great job. He's earned his playing time. He'll continue to play. He's performing well. He's earned what he's getting. He has got all the right traits. So, like, their roles are kind of similar. The Chiefs' offense slightly better, but Tyron Tracy's talent much better. So, hell yeah. Let's chase the upside of Tracy. That's what I'm saying. Because if Kareem Hunt turns you to 13 or 14 PPR points, okay, fine. I think Tracy could hit that in one half of football. And if Washington starts boat racing the Giants, Tracy's pass game usage could be much better with just, if he actually gets the receiving work he got in college, 3, 4, 5 targets, not only is he way out producing Kareem Hunt on that basis, but he can do a whole lot more with it than Kareem Hunt could. Historical anomalies. What's up? What's up, Bubba? Civil Horse Ride Cowboy. My buddy, we had a Halloween party. That's one of I have got leftover. I went as Apollo, the Greek god, a bunch of like tunics and gold and stuff, and I thought the gold nails were a nice touch. I wasn't able to take them off before stream, but my buddy dressed up as emo cowboy. He had like leather black trench coat, black lenses, black cowboy hat, and boots. It was fun. You're welcome, James. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm gonna recommend you things based on everything I can pull in together and not lead anyone astray for sure. 5 minutes before kickoff, I'll stay live just in case anybody gets any last second emergency start sick questions. Got hair poking out of my trucker cap. Week 9, folks. Good luck in all your matchups. May your players stay healthy. May they play the full game. May they catch and rush for all the touchdowns. And I think that one of the like Tyron Tracy thing is like I think we're not adjusting to how good Tracy's been as a rusher. Like Tracy looks like Devon Achane just on the Giants. And if you swap names, the story of Emo Cowboy is simply that I've been an emo kid since I was like 13, born and raised in Houston, so Texas to my core, and online persona needed something. I like snappy names, so I liked Emo Cowboy. I hadn't heard anybody say that or mention that before, and I thought that was like a fun way to like get my emo culture and my Texas roots. I've ridden horses since I was a kid, baled hay, dug trenches. I've worked on a ranch. So like I feel like it's not total bullshit. So the origin is just like great marketing and great naming convention by me, as well as just kind of like capturing pretty good who I am and where I come from, in one of the snappiest ways possible. That's the origin. I was a video gamer before I was a best ball and betting the gym by the same moniker. Appreciate everybody that joined the stream. Thank everybody for helping me answer your start-sit questions. I always enjoy doing this with y'all. Helps me go through the games, and y'all hit me early with a couple tough ones, but I think those are the right ones to have. Like you'd rather have two good players. You're like, which one am I going between? And then you're looking at garbage options, right? And isn't it wild that it's week 9 and Kareem Hunt in the year 2024 is a 16th ranked running back on the slate. That's wild, man. Man, some things never change. James Winston, Joe Flacco, and Kareem Hunt are like top 15 options at their at their fucking positions in 2024. That's hilarious. All right, y'all, we're gonna shut it down. Thanks everybody for joining us. Appreciate everyone asking questions and hitting the like. Every little bit helps. Really enjoyed doing this with y'all. And as always, good luck. Win your matchups. Dominate. Absolutely dominate. Crush them with all your might. What video games? Oh God, man. It's like Halo, Call of Duty, Madden, all of the Need for Speeds and Burnouts. Loved those. I was raised on Sega Genesis, so my first video game was Sonic and Knuckles on Sega Genesis, and I played everything outside of that. And then I haven't played a lot of video games the last 5 years, to be honest, just because I sold my console when I was in college so I could focus and not spend hours and hours and hours on Madden. So I haven't played as much lately, but done some of the online stuff. A little bit of Fortnite when it wasn't too sweaty and it was new during COVID. Played some stuff like Hollow Knight. Really love that stuff. So a little bit of everything, to be honest. And I'm looking for. I've been waiting for the next good game to play. Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, the last two I've enjoyed playing. Not even being a real big Zelda fan. All right, a little bit of video game talk. Yeah, we missed the Friday stream this week, just because of scheduling, and Tom and Rich had to do their start sit review stream Friday. So we'll be back Friday for our underdog pick'ems, battle royales, contest tourneys, start sits, and maybe we chop it up about video games, life, music, shows. Open it up, maybe do a little longer form this next week. Enjoyed hopping on with FanSpeak with Megan, talking through the bets, favorite bets this week. And no surprise, those included Chase Brown touchdown, Tyrone Tracy rushing yards and fantasy points, and Devon Achane fantasy points and receptions. So good luck, everybody. Bank something big. Dominate your matchups. Catch you on the next stream.